Greetings and salutations. This is Carla from Mortal JA, and you're going to hear a couple sounds in the background. One of them, I think, is an owl, some type of bird. The other one is a compressor because sometimes compressors are running in my background, and the other one might be my dog. Them. So if you hear any of them sound there, just gonna know hear them, right? Anyway, so I wrote a poem, and I thought that I would come and share it with you. And if you are somebody who knows me or you have followed my work at all, then you know that I think and I talk a lot about love in all its permutations, love for self, love for others, you know, love for the world you live in, spiritual love, whatever, because I think that love has a type of potential that is almost revolutionary, but we don't tap into it because we think of love as something that's kind of fluffy and fuzzy and it's all about running with daffodils and whatever, right? But I think that if we look at the things that people have achieved because of love, then we recognize that love is actually stronger than fear. It's stronger than pride. It's stronger than most other things, right? Woman lift up Carla for them pitney. That's an act of love. You know, you have people where run road wicked and them just decide, all right, them and put on all of them something there, and all of the feelings and whatever them used to get from them people there, them don't want it anymore. Them bring it down to this one person because that's what love needs them to do. Their love for that person requires them to do that. So love is actually something that love is pretty gangster, you know, but we keep on treating it as something that's not. So I think I talk about love a lot, and specifically I think a lot about romantic love. Look how the camera does fade in and out, watch them. You know, so I'm gonna stop talk. I think I talk a lot about romantic love because I think that on an individual level, romantic love is one of the things that has great potential to help us to change, to become our best selves. So not to change, but to evolve into our best selves, because when you are working in a partnership situation and you and somebody are kind of going side by side, you know, being that close to somebody, it brings certain things about yourself into very sharp focus, and you have to deal with them. You can't run from them anymore. You can't hide, you know, or you can choose to hide, but then you'll have to give up on the love. So I think I talk a lot about romantic love, and in thinking about it and talking about it, I keep on coming across this theme with people where they're like, do what love, look on my nose, where they're like, do what love requires. You know, you do whatever love requires, and it's obviously much easier said than done, because sometimes what love requires is that you face down certain demons that you've been avoiding for years. Sometimes what love requires is that you give up certain things that maybe you would rather not give up, a person that you'd rather not give up, habits that you'd rather not give up, but that's what love requires. And yes, you can have the love and have those things, but what it means is that you cannot live in the fullness of the love, because maybe then you're not able to be in the relationship with the person. And living in the fullness of that love means that you get to be with the person every day, you get to express as freely as you want to, you get to grow into the love with them. So yeah, you can have certain of the things and you can have the love at the same time, but you can't have both of them in their fullness at the same time. You get what I'm saying? So in thinking and talking to people about, you know, love and whatever, I come across certain themes, and then all of the themes kind of came together in the form of a poem. So that's what I have written here, and I'm going to read it for you now. And there might be a point where the computer sticks, because it's about the 4th time that I'm recording this, and the computer sticks and I keep having to start. If it sticks, I'm going to make this face and I'm going to force it to go down, and I'm going to continue reading. All right, of course, you know, I don't know it by heart, so I read married. All right. The woman said she had spent her whole life meditating on love and what love would bring to her life, but not about who would bring it. She said she never thought about the mechanics of it. She had thought about what they would do, but not what they wouldn't. How they would make her feel, but never how they would feel about her. She said she thought that was where she was going wrong, in the always thinking about her feelings and never about theirs. So she thought about it. 5, she said. They should desire me above all others. And this is not about monogamy or polygamy, dating, or even marriage. At the point that you enter my life, you should desire me above all others. I understand that this can change. And when I've given enough time to you, enough time for you to know the rhythm of my heartbeat, the dimples on my buttocks, the way I look when I'm tired and fighting to stay awake, the way my voice sounds when I'm terrified but trying to be brave, the way my cooking tastes when I think it's awful and when I think it's turned out okay. When I've shown you those things, then you should be incapable of desiring anyone but me, because then you should realize that I am beautiful and intriguing and the kind of woman that you will never get over. Never in a million years. This is not for all. For some will see me sleepy and scared and find me needy or weak. Some will find my dimples gross. Some will hear my heartbeat and stop only long enough to notice that there is a small murmur in it and a click. So this is not for all. This is for the one. When I've shown you these things, the one will realize that I am her. 4. The idea of hurting me should be repulsive to you. The thought of something you did causing me sadness or tears or anger or worse, disappointment should make you want to die. But it should do more because feeling like you want to die is actually pretty commonplace, isn't it? And the common is a very slippery resting place for a point as important as this. The fear of hurting me should push you into the light. It should make you scratch and dig into the earth, past the rocks, beyond the worms and the splinters and the old rusted bottle caps. It should make you go way down deep into yourself in search of a flashlight or a candle or a torch or a sun, in search of something bright enough to illuminate all your dark corners so you can be certain, absolutely certain, that there is nothing in them that could hurt me. And when you find those things, because we both know that they're there, when you find them, your love for me should make you kill them. Love, the kind of love I desire, is a vanquishing thing. It is a thing with a steed and arrows, a thing with a sword, a thing that moves to the sound of drums and in smoke and in silence, but always a thing that moves towards the light. Because in the darkness hides the things that may hurt me, and you would never, ever, ever want to hurt me. Your love should make you brave enough to take on anything and everything in my name and for my own good. This is my 3rd requirement, and it requires no explanation. Number 2, your love should make you steady. Not a wind-tossed vessel, nor a car on a rocky road. Your love for me should be a thing I can rest my head on and go to sleep, never wondering if I should wake up and find it is gone. Your love for me should make you level. Not in all areas, just in this one. Your love for me should make you earth. I know it's hard. I am water, and learning to stay still takes years. I have still not learned it, but I have realized that love can be a wall, a fence, a container, something that can hold in water and fire, that can make them rage and burn but never diminish in power, never vacillate in all their churning. My love is that container that keeps all the passion, that makes it whole, makes it into a home. Your love for me should make you quiet inside, should separate out all the winds that toss you, all the running feet you have nurtured in your past lives. Your love for me should show you the beauty of putting down roots so that your branches can reach for the sky, and so your shoots can spread across the ground for acres and miles, but still the roots remain. Your love for me should be steady and free and free and steady. Steady. Number 1, you cannot imagine life without me. The prospect of it is dull and uninteresting, painful and unbearable. The idea of losing me is a threat I never have to enact, much less enforce, because it is a pain too deep for you to bear. You will not let go of me unless I ask you to. Left to your own devices, you would never ever leave me. Your love for me is as deep as your love for yourself, lives inside of your love for yourself, reinforces your love for yourself. I am your kindred. I am your sister and lover and partner and friend. I am a quenching of your thirst and fulfilling of an unbearable emptiness that you never again want to see, an emptiness you did not even realize until I was present. And you would never ever take a chance to do a thing that would cause you to lose me, because the truth of my absence is impossible to countenance. You will never let me go, and I will never ever doubt that with me is where you want to be. That's it, she said. Those are the things. There may be more, some may be less, but as far as my soul can tell, that is how they should feel. Love is a strange thing and defies all reckoning. But if I had to describe it, the love I want is big and brave and deep and decided. A life without me is impossible, and as far as you can see forward, it's impossible. That may end in marriage, it may end, but the idea of the ending should tear you up so deeply that you do not entertain it at all. So that's the poem. That's where I got on my meditations of love today on this Sunday. Hit me up in the comments. Tell me what you think about it. Do you think about this type of love? Do you agree with this type of love? You know, if you're writing me to abuse me and tell me that it's a pipe dream, please, honey, save your comments, because I am going to delete them. The way that I envision love does not have to agree with the way that you envision love. It only has to agree with the way that the person I'm partnered with envisions love. So, booyakasha. Anyways, love, peace, chicken grease. Be kind to each other and to yourselves. Bye bye.